Welcome back. We turn now to a NewsNation exclusive investigation. Federal officials, from Supreme Court justices to Illinois Congressman Adam Kinzinger, are facing increasing threats of violence during these polarizing times. And we, the taxpayers, pay for their security, many times even after they leave office. In the case of former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, that is costing millions of dollars every month. Joe Khalil has more from Capitol Hill with an exclusive NewsNation investigation that Morning in America viewers are the first to see. Joe?
Yeah, good morning, Mitch. So in our investigation, we've learned that the threat to Pompeo is costing taxpayers, you at home, an unprecedented amount of money. We're talking about millions of dollars. And it's not that the threat is expensive. It's that Pompeo is traveling all over the country, all over the world, doing public events, and even as his security is telling him not to.
These days, former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo gets a rock star welcome. Whether in Florida,
former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo,
or New York, or Michigan, his travel schedule is packed. No longer serving as the nation's top diplomat, but you wouldn't know it based on his 24/7 security detail. A team of State Department diplomatic security service agents protecting him everywhere he goes. Standard for a former high-ranking official under threat. Pompeo still faces a credible threat from Iran, hence the round-the-clock security. It's retaliation for his role in the assassination of Iranian General Qasem Soleimani back in 2020. Iran's president said martyrs would, quote, take revenge on Pompeo in a speech earlier this year. But State Department officials around Pompeo tell NewsNation he's been ignoring the advice of his security, often choosing to put himself and those who protect him in danger, and doing so at an unprecedented cost for American taxpayers. Sensitive but unclassified documents NewsNation obtained show in the summer of 2021 the cost to protect Pompeo and one of his aides ballooned from just short of $700,000 to more than $2 million per month, close to 90% of it going to Pompeo's security, and all of it public dollars. The documents explain the $2 million mostly covers vehicle and travel costs for Pompeo's security agents, and his travel for paid speeches and public events is extensive. So how much travel is the former secretary doing? Well, these are some, not all, of his public events in the U.S. just since April.
There's a stark difference between a national security mission that's important for us and then a discretionary trip. In all things, especially if there's a threat in nature from a state sponsor, you would have to be concerned.
Retired diplomatic security service agent Mark Hipp says it's not uncommon for former officials to do book tours or paid speeches like Pompeo's doing. In his case, making 6 figures per speech.
The law dictates that we have to protect these individuals out of the concern for them.
But Hipp says when there's a credible threat, announcing where you're going and when you'll be there puts lives at risk, especially if the purpose isn't America's national security, but rather personal gain. Does it ever get to a point where you would consider it to be irresponsible?
I mean, I wouldn't go as far as irresponsibility. I would go with the morality of it, because not only are you putting yourself in harm's way in such a case, but you're also pushing those men and women that are going to will risk their lives for you. And most secretaries, if not all, pretty much do this stuff. As to what extreme they do it to.
I'm very reluctant to say if you go into public service and you do things that may get you shot by a foreign adversary, that you can't go on a book tour. Yeah. But the amounts of money you're talking about for security, millions a month, damn.
Congressman Brad Sherman, who serves on the House Foreign Affairs Committee, says when it comes to personal travel, paid speeches, and campaign events, like Pompeo's been doing, finding a balance between what the public should pay and the legitimate need to protect the nation's officials who've served the country is difficult.
I want the professionals to decide how big is this security detail, and does Pompeo need a security detail, and if so, where?
And the professionals did decide that last November, a planned trip to the United Arab Emirates was simply too risky for Pompeo and his agents, given the threat against him.
NewsNation has learned that Pompeo's security warned him not to go to the UAE, but that he dismissed the State Department's concerns and went anyway. It was a paid gig that earned him hundreds of thousands of dollars.
And that's in addition to what sources tell NewsNation exclusively is a planned $1.1 million taxpayer-funded upgrade to Pompeo's new $3.5 million Virginia home to beef up security. We caught up with the former secretary to ask about the record costs and the hefty public event schedule, all in the face of a serious threat.
Mr. Secretary, I'm Joe Khalil with NewsNation. Can I ask you a couple questions about your overseas travel costs? So you're getting a $1 million upgrade to the house paid for by the public. Isn't it a risk to be putting yourself overseas so much?
Our questions and our multiple requests for interviews all went unanswered.
And just to put a finer point on how much money we're talking about here, according to the unclassified but sensitive documents that we obtained, we learned that Congress used to cap how much money in taxpayer dollars would go to protect former officials at $15 million a year. That was the max they used to even allow. Well, this year, Pompeo was going to blow right through that $15 million, and he's actually going to cost anywhere from $24 to $25 million. We've learned that this year, Congress had to quite literally go back to the drawing board and rewrite that part of its budget, now increasing that maximum to $30 million a year. And our sources tell us this has never happened before. Guys?
Now, Joe, you focused on Pompeo here, but do you have any idea how Pompeo's security costs compare to other former elected officials or appointed officials, I guess I should say?
Yeah, so it's a really good question, Mitch. Unfortunately, the State Department wouldn't play ball with us. We wanted to find out what it costs for other secretaries of state, his exact position, to protect them. They didn't give us that information. It may have been classified at one point. But here's what we do know. According to our sources in Congress who deal with the budget, they see where these dollars go. And for decades, they tell us that we have never seen any amount like this dollar figure that's going to Pompeo compared to all of the other former officials they have seen. There's also public reporting, and I want to be clear, this isn't our reporting, but Politico a couple of years ago looked at how much taxpayer dollars go to protect Bill Clinton in his years after office. They found it was a bit more than $1 million a year. We also found Investors Business Daily did a report where they said the same thing about Barack Obama, a bit over $1 million a year. Compare that to $24 million just this year for Pompeo, and you can see a big discrepancy there, guys.
All right, Joe Khalil with a NewsNation exclusive report. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.